This podcast is meant to inform, entertain, and occasionally stir the pot in a good way. The opinions expressed are our own, shaped by personal experience and thoughtful research. They may not reflect everyone's views, and we may even offend you. We're just a couple of humans doing our best to advocate, educate, and elevate, one episode at a time. Yours truly, The Bark. P.S. Please don't sue us.
Candy, hi.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm comfortable.
Yeah, we're in some new digs.
Physically, we are. And it smells like no one is here to experience this, but it smells wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some lights. We have some new couches. We can put our feet up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited. And truthfully, I'm just going to start off by saying I did have a Monster today. I don't normally drink them,
Yes.
so I cannot be resposible for the things I say today.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like already tweaking, so I feel it. So I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yes, I'm glad we recorded our new disclaimer. So everybody just pay attention to that as Megan speaks today.
Yeah,
So.
thanks, and every single day of my life. So we're back. If this is your first time, welcome. We're so happy to have you. I'm Megan.
I'm Candy.
And we are members of Laws Saving Paws, which is a nonprofit out of Columbia, Tennessee, really focusing on confronting the root of the animal crisis instead of responding to symptoms of it. And we started this podcast just to give us a better platform to talk about so many of the things that are happening in Tennessee.
There's a lot of great rescues in and out of the state that are trying to help, and what they're trying to do is save dogs from euthanasia due to this pet overpopulation crisis. But there needs to be some groups that are on the advocacy side of things, that are looking at the bigger picture, educating the public, and doing things from this side. So that's why we're here.
Yes, and we've realized, well, at least I've recognized, for me, elevator pitches, not my strong suit. So in order to successfully do that, my elevator needs to be broken down.
Yeah.
And then I can tell you all about what we do.
Right. And there's just too much in this world to use elevator pitches, really.
Good Lord.
Silly.
Yeah. So, gosh, we should burn the elevator pitch. Who came up with that?
It is useful for some things. It is useful for some things.
You're right.
Just not for this.
Yeah. So this is, I don't know. I think this is episode 8 now, Pedigree or Profit. And before we kind of dig into things, I will just remind you guys, we are listener supported. Yes. This means we do not have magical money trees growing in our backyard. And if you like what you hear and you want to continue hearing it, please consider going to our website, lawsavingpaws.org/thebark.
Yep.
One word. And just looking at the different sponsorship opportunities we have. There will be no shortage of ways that we will sing of your praises. Yeah. Because we enjoy doing this. And again, I think we truly believe there's a need for all of this conversation.
Yes, we do. I am active in rescue, and there's a lot of things that I encounter with people wanting to adopt, and advocacy is part of what I do, but I keep finding the same kind of mistakes being made in life, the same routines, the same patterns. And instead of educating one person at a time, that's exactly why we're having this podcast, to stop the systemic trends and get ahead of it. So,
even people who don't listen, we get the feedback a lot. Well, I don't know, in conversations I've had recently with people who are like, podcasts, these people in these rural areas aren't listening to podcasts. Yeah, we know that, but there are people who do listen to them, and they can continue to share what we talk about.
Right. And I'm not sure about that. I think we assume that people in rural areas are, I don't know.
Well, I'm not. Yeah.
Sitting around shucking corn all day. I don't think so. I know I go out and visit a lot of these rural shelters and whatnot, and these people are with it. They're smart. They do what we do, especially nowadays with technology. I think everybody's pretty much on the same playing field. So absolutely, we want to outreach. That's why we're here. And if you want to know what the funds are going to, this is it. We do a lot of research to be prepared for these episodes, and we are addressing common topics that come up, common issues.
Yes.
We don't just research for today. We research for in the future. I know we have touched on some topics lately that we have dug deep into that will come up on later episodes. So
yes,
yeah,
yes.
so let's get into it. Yeah.
And then, so I do also just want to say, just on the donor support front, Marsha F., thank you so much for your recent donation.
Yeah.
Again, we're just so thankful for any sort of community support. And this is actually a great time. You said, Candy, we've talked a little about like all the research we do and whatnot. In today's episode, I just want to remind you guys, we're not experts. We don't know everything, but we try to prepare as best as we can. And what we hope that this does is inspire conversation. So we are going to talk a lot about the AKC today.
Yep.
And we try our best to, get data, just come really prepared. But what we really hope for is like just to start conversations where if you hear something, like you go and look this stuff up yourself too. Like
right.
We are not perfect. We do
right.
our best. We do our due diligence to,
right.
Communicate everything we can. But yeah, we just want to inspire that curiosity among other people too.
Yep, absolutely. So. And we, what we're talking about today, I had heard rumors of, but had not sat down and done my own research. And Megan did a lot of, I'll give the credit to Megan for this one. She did a lot of research on this one. And I think for all the time that I had heard these rumors, I kind of wanted to like, no, that can't be. I just kind of wanted to deny it. But here it is. Let's walk through it.
Yeah, we'll walk through. And so we're going to start. Okay. If you've listened to us before, I'm obsessed with killer whales. So Blackfish is like one of my favorite documentaries ever. And I'm going to steal a page from their playbook because at the very beginning of that documentary, they play this beautiful SeaWorld commercial. Look at all the beautiful whales swimming around. It's magical. They love doing flips for people. Yay. And then like you jump into the documentary and it's like, whale rips off the scalp of trainer Dawn, and I'm like, oh, what happened? So anyways, we're taking a page from their book. What we're going to do, we're going to start off by playing. This is from an AKC commercial that was just released in 2025. And so we're going to go ahead and listen to this. And AKC, by the way, American Kennel Club. Yeah. When you see the shows on TV, like the Westminster shows, like this is that organization.
There are dogs who are big and some who are small. At AKC, we know and love them all. We're the not-for-profit for all dog information to support every dog lover across the nation. So whether you have dogs that leap, dogs that herd, or dogs who love to track a bird, AKC is here for you because helping all dogs is what we do. The American Kennel Club, everything we do for dogs. Learn more at akc.org.
Adorable. What were your first thoughts, Candy?
It sounds happy and healthy.
Yeah.
So
right.
Yeah.
Sounds like that person just had a monster.
Yeah. So can I read just their little blurb about who they are?
Yeah, totally.
So founded in 1884, the not-for-profit AKC is the recognized and trusted expert in breed, health, and training information for all dogs. AKC actively advocates for responsible dog ownership and is dedicated to advancing dog sports.
Yeah. Okay.
That's from their website.
That commercial was a great.
Yeah.
Listen, I think their marketing department did a great job. If that's their blurb and that's their commercial, like there's a cohesiveness there. I get it. So now I'm going to play for you something the Humane World for Animals had put out, and this is the U.S. Humane Society. They're now the Humane World for Animals. Now, listen, this video is from 2012. So, yes, it's a little old. But the reason why I'm referencing it is because these things are we still hear problems. We hear rumors. We hear things about the AKC. So, it's still relevant. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this video.
These dogs live in cages, in filth, with little food, water, or vet care, and they are suffering. They live in a puppy mill, and the American Kennel Club doesn't seem to care.
We raid with law enforcement many puppy mill operations. We have found that a fair number of these operations are actually AKC registered breeders. And these are some of the worst, most appalling places that we've seen.
The AKC's mission statement says in part, we protect the health and well-being of all dogs. Now the HSUS is releasing a report detailing how the AKC has done anything but that.
We've tracked that AKC in the last 5 years has actually opposed 80 state bills to improve conditions for dogs. I mean, this is mind-boggling that the American Kennel Club, which says it's a dog's champion, is opposing basic standards.
It's time for the AKC to work toward the true essence of its mission as the dog's champion.
We've got to really question what AKC is doing. We've got to demand that they become part of the solution and no longer be part of the problem.
All right, thoughts?
I've gone to here in Tennessee and I've lobbied a few years for different laws, and we were successful in getting a housing law, outdoor housing law passed a few years ago. I think it was 2023 that passed. And doing the lobbying work, you meet up with fellow rescuers, and so on. And I had heard that the AKC had pushed back, and there were other laws on the table. And I hear those things, but I don't have it in writing,
Right.
But then when you look at these stories and you see where, okay, these dogs are registered under AKC or they're coming from these puppy mills and entering AKC supported realms, or AKC is blocking laws that would offer greater protections for dogs. It's heartbreaking.
Well, it's a little ironic. And then my favorite part is recently, and again, we're gonna unravel this a little, but recently there was like an animal abandonment law that the AKC championed, and they were in such support of, we need to protect our animals, they shouldn't be abandoned, blah blah blah. And I'm like, pot calling the kettle black. Like, the whole reason we have animals being abandoned is because there are too many stinking animals.
Right.
And I mean, the irresponsible breeding practices are what drive that. So I'm just like, oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah.
It was just, and that's when I got blocked by Facebook.
Oh.
It was the beginning of the end for our paid ads. Anyway, so I started getting, I've told people this before. One of my dogs, my favorite, I have a favorite, whatever. He's AKC, and I go back and forth. I'm like, are you AKC?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a mix.
Okay.
They
have a mixed breed program.
Yeah. So, and again, like, I'm learning things that, like, I never thought they had mixed breeds. So
yeah, so I think from what I understand, the AKC helps to protect the integrity of purebreds, but they also have another arm of the association that is that agility component and other sports and whatnot. So that's where the mixed breeds tend to come in.
Gotcha.
Other than if you're breeding, I don't know if they recognize, for example, doodles, all the the newer doodle mixes. I don't know if they recognize those breeds.
Well, Candy, have you ever been into a pet land?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have.
What'd you think?
It's set up really cute and everything.
It's warm and fuzzy.
It's meant to be warm and fuzzy. I don't understand how people go in and buy pay that much for a dog and not. The problem is, I've had a poor experience with Petland as well.
Okay.
So part of Petland's policy is that they get these dogs from breeders. I'm not sure how well of a job that they do to go inspect those breeders. My poor experience was one of their dogs ended up in a in a rural shelter in Tennessee, and we scanned the microchip. We contacted the previous owner. They said, "Oh yeah, I gave that dog up to a rescue, and when I get home, I'll get you the number." And then they ghosted us. They never. Well, we found out the dog was from Petland, and Petland's policy is that if a dog ever gets abandoned or needs to be returned, they take responsibility. And I called them every week and, I'd have to send somebody up there because the Petland was in another state, a neighboring state. Yep. I'd have to send somebody up there. I'm like, yes, you would.
Yeah.
And yes, you, and part of me was panicking because I'm like, once they take this dog, what are they really going to do with it? Because when you go into that store, it's all puppies.
Right.
And this dog was a, a healer.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't, where would they put this? There's the little cubbies are puppy cubbies. Where in the world would they even put this dog?
Yeah.
What are they going to do with it?
Yeah.
And I felt very scared about even handing over this dog to them. And ultimately, they never came for the dog. We ended up rehoming the dog.
Yeah.
But months and months and months of calling them.
Okay.
And they were not responsible for it.
Yeah. That's like, not that Costco is the same as Petland.
Right. Right.
But it's like opposite Costco where you can return a couch 16 years later.
Right.
So I still give you a refund. Well, no, you brought up a good point though.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, I don't know how Petland is inspecting these people. And frankly, they shouldn't need to.
Right.
If a breeder has a license, my expectation would be, okay, someone else is doing that due diligence and they have that license because they're doing things ethically. So, but we're finding that they're not. And so this is where I guess the ironic thing with the AKC, for instance, it's been reported that, some of the bills that they have blocked, and by blocked, I mean, they literally recruit all of their breeders. They put this language on their website. Here are your legislators that you should reach out to. Here's the letter you send. If they enact this bill, here's how you're going to be impacted. So they really rally their troops to argue against it. And, but they've blocked a lot of puppy mill bills that would ban the sale of puppies at stores like this.
Right.
And so they've been doing that for years and years. And I guess Petland, it sounds like I need to visit one. I visited something similar when I was visiting Connecticut, and I nearly had like an aneurysm in the store because my sister was like, "We got to get you out of here. Are you okay?" Because I put on my reporter hat, and I was like, I had my boxing gloves on because I walk in and USDA puppies here, AKC here, and I was like, that's just a sign. It made me so, I just wanted to wanted to whip out my iPhone 7 which by the way, iPhone 16 now I have, just to let you know. But I wanted to whip that out and just capture everything.
Maybe we should go together if you go.
We should go together.
Somebody has to pull you out of there.
Thank you. Yeah, but they had, they placed signs throughout Petland stores and that offer registrations, even for the mixed breeds, like you said. But those signs create a false impression that all of the breeders have been quality checked. And recently I read an article that said when the AKC is going in there to inspect, they're going to inspect the operations of Petland, and then they hand them a sign that says, okay, here you go. You've been AKC certified. So the AKC's inspection of Petland stores. And this is, so we don't have to do the dirty work, though. World Humane
Good
World.
Lord,
I'm going to keep calling them USHS. Sorry, what is it, Candy?
Humane World for Animals.
Thank you. All right. They'll do the dirty work because they have a lot more resources than we do. They went undercover and filmed. And when an AKC goes into a Petland store, they're not doing humane inspections. Instead, they send reps to review the registration documents.
Okay.
But again, and it's a perception because shoppers see the signs that say this has been inspected by AKC, but that inspection is referring to, hey, someone came in and verified you have documents. Mm-hmm. That's it. So
time at one point in one moment.
So I mean, it's just, but again, if I think what is so important to me is that, again, the value of these documents is like obsolete because of the conditions that some of these dogs are in, like when you go visit puppy mills. So it's like, again, like a license doesn't, we say it all the time, like a license does not equate responsible.
Right. And so I want to be very clear. We're not calling Petland a puppy mill, but Petland has to get those puppies from somewhere. And what we're saying is they get these dogs from, you know, sometimes local organizations, sometimes organizations that are farther away. There's a lot that goes into breeding dogs. The breeders that they're getting them from, are they acting ethically? Are they doing the right types of genetic testing? And is it usually breeding is done in a home, or sometimes there are places that do set up kennels and whatnot. Are those kennels clean? Is that home clean? I mean, we just saw a bust a few weeks ago of a home that was overrun with dogs and cats, and it was definitely actually I think it was just dogs, and it was definitely a puppy mill.
Yeah.
I can't say that they were selling to a commercial organization. That's not what I'm saying. But all these cute little puppies that you see advertised on different places, they are not always coming from a great place. And the problem with that is, therefore, you don't know what you're getting.
Right.
You're getting possibly sick dogs that come to your home, can make you sick, can make your other dog sick. I have had an incident where that happened. A puppy purchased for less than $150 ended up costing that family a few $1,000s because the puppy was brought home. They didn't know had parvo and gave parvo to the adult dogs in the home. Everybody gets rushed off to the emergency vet. A few $1,000s later, they have their two adult dogs got better. That little puppy passed away.
And parvo, I mean, we're not going to talk about parvo now, but parvo, like there's cells that get shed from that disease that can really be dangerous for someone with a compromised immune system too. So it's not even just animals, but there's, you can have like disastrously.
Yes. And I will tell you, I know that I've brought up this book on other episodes, but there's a book called The Other End of the Leash by Patricia B. McConnell, PhD. And she talks about, if you're going to purchase a dog from a breeder, you need to go to where that dog was raised.
Yes.
You need to meet the parents.
And if they say no, you run.
Right. You do not, and she herself talks about going to see a puppy, and something happened where she also says if the parent dogs show aggression, you do not take that dog. You don't purchase one of those puppies, because aggression can be brought on by the environment, but it can also be passed on through hereditary genes. So if the parents are showing signals of being aggressive, even, somebody will tell you, well, the mom is trying to protect its puppies. No, even then, mom is supposed to be peaceful toward humans and so on and so forth. Yeah. If somebody's mistreating her puppies, okay. But us approaching should not be enough of a threat where a dog is growling at you wanting to bite you.
But if you're doing this unethically, though, I would argue you don't even know enough about dogs in the first place to know that that's not okay. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And everybody thinks all they have to do is mate and I sell them, and that's not the way it works. I'm part of Facebook groups where vets will respond and give you feedback. I'm not allowed to share what's posted on there, but I will tell you in summary, the vets are very polite, but they will very firmly tell these people who are like, I remember one post, a young lady was like, I want to breed my dog, I forgot what her actual question was. Yeah. But the vets responded, why do you want to breed? It was like a little Yorkie.
I think we've talked about this dog before. Okay.
It was like a little Yorkie or something. And she said, I love my dog. It's so cute. I want to breed it. And the vet said, why do you want to breed your dog? Because the purpose of breeding is to preserve a breed's characteristics. That's what the AKC is targeting, is to make sure that as we're breeding a certain line, we're carrying down the characteristics that are ideal for this breed: height, weight, length, ear tips, blood on the bloodhound lines, the floppy ears and things like that. You don't want a dog like, okay, I'm tall for my family. Okay. I would not be.
Candy, how tall are you?
Yeah, I'm 5'7".
Okay, yeah.
I'm average height.
I am too, and I'm like 5'3".
Yeah. But I'm tall for my family. If we were to continue my family line, I would not be the one selected to continue my family line because I am not characteristic of our family.
Candy would be euthanized.
Yes. No, we wouldn't euthanize me. Oh my
kidding.
gosh.
I'm just kidding.
I just would not be the one selected. So the vets asked this person with the Yorkie and said, so why do you want to breed? Because we're looking at your dog and it is a cute dog, but it is not characteristic of this breed.
Yeah.
Okay. So they had to explain to her, your dog's not even an ideal fit to represent the breed. So don't do it because then yes, you will sell the dog because you'll sell to people who are not knowledgeable enough. Yeah. But you're not going to make the big bucks to sell to somebody who wants the ideal breed because they're smart enough to know that's not what we're looking for in the breed.
I don't know. I would argue a lot of those people who are paying $3,000 or $4,000 for that breed, I don't think they're all smart enough to know that.
They're not all, but the people who are going to pay you the $3,000 or $4,000, I'm hoping they know.
Do you think?
But
I don't know.
you will. You might not make the $3,000 or $4,000 is my point. But you might make the $2,000. Yeah. So you might not make the money that you think you're going to make. The other thing that they told her is, do you have $5,000 in your bank account for an emergency C-section? Yeah. Because if this dog, you don't know what you're doing. This is the dog's, any pregnancy can result in a C-section. So do you have $5,000 or are you ready to watch your dog that you love so much pass away right in front of you?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's amazing to me that...
and not to mention any medical care that the pups might need. And what people don't realize about breeding as well is dogs are like humans. They need prenatal care. They need a prenatal diet. They also need an ultrasound. How do you know?
Candy, everyone's doing that. All these backyard breeders, I'm sure they're all doing this testing. I don't know. Listen.
They have at-home ultrasound, right? Kids?
Totally.
Right? Yeah. So the question with, just like us, usually we have one baby at a time, but not dogs. Dogs can have, we talked about it before, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 puppies. Yeah. If you don't go get that ultrasound, how many dogs do you know? Like, how do you know when the delivery is over? Yeah. So that's
YouTube.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. If a pup fails, and this applies to cats as well. If a pup fails to be delivered, how will you know? Yeah. And then there's this, this sweet little puppy that you loved and adored and wanted to recreate is now in jeopardy. Yeah. So anyway, those are the things that when we talk about backyard breeding, that we talk about who's certifying, who's profiting off of all this. Those are the things that are being missed by not having certification. I mean, does the AKC even offer training for people who want to become breeders?
So they have, and that's the thing. I was going through I was learning quite a bit about the AKC, honestly. And I do just want to say as well, I think, based on everything I'm finding, that the USDA is actually much worse than the AKC.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I was looking into, like, every year, good Lord, HWA?
Humane World.
I need this, like, tattooed on the screen and something. Letters are hard. But they release a report every year. It's like the Horrible 100. Yes. Where I need to figure out where they're sourcing all of these inspection reports, but they compile a list of breeders and dealers who continue to breed and make profit. And I mean, the conditions that these animals are terrible. And honestly, like, most of them are USDA dealers. Now, I don't know. And again, this is more homework for me. I want to learn the relationship between AKC and USDA. If they work together on the back end, if those dealers, I don't understand quite enough about the USDA. But I will say, I was going through the report and there was language that, like, made me kind of curious, because I'm going through and there were a lot of animals that are a lot of puppy mills, for instance, that were saying they were AKC. Okay. But they weren't. And so I thought, okay, is this report actually looking at active AKC certified breeders, or is it just investigating people who claim to be AKC? Because in and of itself an entirely different issue because
the AKC gets misrepresented. Any organization would. So, you know, on their behalf, there are bad actors who take on.
Well, like we try to educate them about this, but like I just came across something, good Lord. And I posted about this on our social, on Facebook and whatever, which if you're not following us, follow us. Yeah. Click. Lost Saving Paws. But one of the things we talked about recently, there was this woman, I don't remember where she was. Man, she like went hardcore on the evidence that she was an AKC breeder. Like she overcompensated so much that she was like creating documentation that doesn't even exist.
I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
So she has a physical license. The AKC does not give you physical licenses. All right, guys. And then
I wonder if she uses that to get out of speeding tickets.
Yeah, right. Like, good Lord. I was just but the perception, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Oh, she has a license. She must really be a dealer or a breeder or, you know. And the documentation, that number does not match the format, and you know, they use language that it's different.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just no, I mean, we need to, I think I want to focus personally more on helping people discern how you can identify that. Because here's the thing. So anyways, going back to that report that Humane HWA.
Yeah, Humane World for Animals.
One day.
Yeah. Hey, they just changed the name. I mean,
can we just change your name? Guys, can you just change your name? That'd be great. Thanks. I'll help you with the rebrand. No, but going back to that report, so as I was going through it, I was just like, okay, if the problem is the misrepresentation, if these people aren't actually AKC certified, but they're pretending they are, for me, that's a bigger problem of, all right, AKC, they're slandering your reputation because now these horrible breeders are saying that you've certified them when you're not. So what are you going to do about it? Like,
there are other brands that and even the US, it's like when you're paying there are inspectors who go around and will confiscate off-brand items.
Right.
You know, and not just because you're damaging a brand, but it's also, it can impact your health. Like people who are creating off-brand, like hygiene items, shampoos, soaps, makeup, cosmetics.
I probably buy a lot of those ones that are harming me, if I'm being honest.
We're not talking about things that go on sale and end up at one of our favorites, TJ Maxx. But we're talking about things that are clear fake of real brands that are sold sometimes at like side little fairs or whatever that is not regulated, and particularly cosmetics is a big one that gets hit. And the US does go inspect those because it's consumer protection.
Well, and so this feels like, I don't know, for me, if I was a member of the AK, or not a member, if I was with the AKC and in my mission statement, you know, we care about the well-being of animals. We're there's a fly. I saw you. Candy just winced.
Acknowledge or not.
But so if I'm with the AKC and I see that, it's and that's part of my mission. I want to nip that in the bud. You know what I mean? I want to tackle that. And this so I want to just share with you a little bit because I had conversations recently with 2 responsible breeders, and again, like they're responsible because I know people who have personally adopted from them. They've seen the breeders, like they've gone through the checklist. I had these conversations and they were eye-opening to me, and because Candy and I, we talk so much about in the past we've said, why aren't the AKC certified breeders like speaking out against backyard breeders? Aren't they impacting their sales? They're not. From the conversations I'm having, these are two demographics. Yeah. So they're not they don't see, the people I've spoken with, they don't really know the demand of cheap AKC certified dogs because they don't see those pool of people.
Right. So
you know what I mean?
It's like buying wine. You have wine collectors who will spend $10,000 on a bottle of wine because they've studied it. They know the vintage. They know,
I think they should sponsor our show.
Right. Yes. Yes. And
Just
if you have some bottles that fall off the truck, send them our way.
Oh, no, I meant if you can afford a $$10,000 bottle of wine.
I agree with you. But they can also afford to share it, maybe. I'm just
Anyway,
saying. Anyway, so you have your collectors, and those would be the people who are going to, they're verifying their breeder. They know better than to the puppy that I mentioned that died from parvo supposedly came from a breeder, but they met this person at the gas station to pick it up. No, somebody who's buying that vintage bottle of wine, that purebred dog knows better than to do that. They go and they will travel across states. They will travel across the country to go see where that dog was raised, how it was raised, is it healthy? Are the parents being treated ethically and humanely? And then you have your like mid-grade where people want the cute pup and everything, but they don't have the knowledge. They might not necessarily have the funding, and they buy for in this other median range of pricing. I mean, the story that we saw from a week or two ago where you see this house inundated with little puppies. And it was like
in Nashville. Was that the Nashville story that Ark went into?
Somewhere in Tennessee. Yes. Okay. But I don't think, I don't know that it was in Nashville, but it was the cute little like Yorkie style puppies. And you see this puppy standing, the oven was not on, but it was standing like in the oven.
Oh, there were puppies in the oven.
Yes. Yeah. It
legit.
was,
like not baking.
Not baking, but they were just this
maybe
house
I don't know.
So inundated with dogs. The dogs were everywhere, including standing on the oven.
Candy. They were in it. Let's be clear.
So that's the that's the mid range of people. That's the usual. Like people don't usually spend $10,000 on a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
they spend if they want to get really fancy, maybe $100, but that's the common group of people purchasing, and they're meeting up at the gas station, or they're meeting up at Walmart parking lot.
That's where I go to buy an illegal dog.
Or they're meeting at Tractor Supply. I've seen it myself. Somebody meeting to buy a dog at Tractor Supply. Those are the people that don't know what they're looking for in the breed. Yeah. They don't know the temperament of the parents. Yeah. They don't know where the dog is coming from and that they're contributing. Every dollar that you give to that person to buy that little dog, you're incentivizing them to turn around and do it again. Yep. And what happens to the puppies that don't get sold from that litter? That's another conversation.
I was going to say, are we talking about that now?
No, we're not trying to talk about that yet.
Let's just say that in some communities, there is a plastic bag and water involved.
Yes. There is a whole lot of fallout to this trend of buying from we don't know where land. Yeah. We didn't visit and breeders will say, well, that's my home. I'm sorry. Yeah. If that's your industry, you need to allow people to come see. Right. And if somebody's willing to drop a few grand, they should be.
Well, it's amazing. One of the breeders I was just talking about from the list, from that list of horrible 100, they're still charging $4,000 a dog, and they haven't been inspected since 2018. They're not even active anymore. They've had, and they're still charging like $4,000 a dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is mental to me.
And so because people are still falling for it. And that's why I, go back to your economics class. It's supply and demand.
I never took one, but okay.
It's supply and demand. If you don't spend that dollar, that company doesn't make that dollar, and then they go out of business. Yeah. So we vote every day with our dollars. Yep. When I go shopping, it's easy for us to say, "Oh, I kind of like that. Oh, I kind of," and it builds up. My way to see if it's really worth it is, it might be $5. That's a margarita. So that's not just $5. I've had friends that are like, it's just
probably
$5.
Not a very good margarita, if I'm being
okay. But
I throw it out there.
I have friends that are like, well, it's only $5. It's only $5, or it's only $10, or it's only $10. But it adds up, and I'm like, but that's a fun night with girlfriends for a few margaritas or a few,
This is like a little. Okay, actually, this probably isn't related at all, but I don't care. I'm going to say it. So my older sister once, I love her. She was trying to convince me. I went to the grocery store with her once, and she's like, it was like, buy, something was $6, right? And she's like, but if you buy 2, it's only
but I don't
10.
need.
You're saving money. I go, I don't need the second one.
I don't need 2 boxes of raisins.
She's like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it was like mind blowing to her.
Yeah.
And it was just so, was so funny.
We vote with our dollars every day. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter whether you're giving a backyard breeder $100
Right.
or you're giving them $2,000.
Right.
You are incentivizing them to turn
Right.
around.
I found somewhere, and we won't get into this, but even you taking the dog from them, even for free, is telling them, well, I found someone to take it so I can do it again.
Yeah, because maybe you're taking.
It was transactional, like,
Right.
regardless.
Right.
I do want to, I know we can go on forever and ever and ever about this. But I want to quickly circle back to my conversations with the breeders because so it sounds like there's no competition. And so the two that I spoke with, one of them, it's sweet. I spoke to the woman and she does it because she has children who it teaches them responsibility. She walked me through everything that they do, and I actually want to go visit them sometime in the near future. But I do want to also rewind because a few weeks ago, I think I talked about, if you're a responsible breeder, you're going to find homes for them before they're even born. And she told me that she doesn't seek out homes for them until they're 6 weeks old because she doesn't know if they're going to, she wants to confirm the quality of their health before doing that. So I was like, okay, that's fair. So I just want to kind of backpedal and take responsibility maybe for that, that misstep earlier. But yeah, she told me they've been breeding for 12 years.
Okay.
And they have only been inspected once, and that was recently.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's always had really good, oh my gosh, experiences with the AKC.
Mm-hmm.
When they did come out, they were very thorough and this and that. And I was like, yeah, awesome. It's definitely not black and white, right?
No.
It's not all or nothing. So the other breeder I spoke with, she breeds corgis, and I think she's just always had a passion for that, it sounds like. And so they've also been breeding for 10 years.
Right.
Never had an inspection.
Yeah.
Never had an inspection. But, and she said, she was like, yeah, actually, it was really easy to get my certification. And the thing is, I looked into the inspection stuff, and the AKC doesn't inspect everything.
Okay.
They don't. They say it depends on, I think, the frequency at which the folks are doing it, and then also the sizes of the litter. So they don't claim to inspect everyone. But here's my challenge then. In response to what is happening with our animal overpopulation and the culture, why can't things pivot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're not inspecting everyone, fine, but can you inspect people sooner? Can you you know what I mean? Why can't it doesn't have to be
These are not
coexist.
hobbyists. These are people who are, the two examples that you gave have been going on for 10 years. These are people who are doing this as a business, a passion.
Yes, and they don't make, I was told the first woman I spoke with, she'd be surprised if they made money. It's more for the value, the integrity of the animal, the responsibility for the children.
It's about the breed.
Yeah, so they're really not making money.
Right. So that's okay, but they are it sounds like they're breeding enough to have multiple litters a year, maybe multiple females that are going at one time, or maybe they alternate throughout the year or whatnot. It's not like the families or the homes or the people who are just like, hey, I just want to do it once because I want a copy of my pup.
Oh,
right?
no, that's different.
Right. That's very different.
Very
so
different.
why are we not, after 10 years, why are we not inspecting a steady operation?
Well, and it's funny is that the first woman I spoke with, and yes, I swear to God, we're going to land the plane soon, folks. We are. But the first woman I spoke with, she said she often looks to make sure she's in accordance with Tennessee
Laws,
breeding laws or whatever. And she's like, I just can't find any. And I said, well, that's because the AK, truthfully, we used to, and this is what I want to set straight too, because I think there's been a lot of confusion. And if you use AI, you will Google it and find, it looks like Tennessee has commercial breeding laws. They don't.
No.
If you do an AI search, so
I think we did, and they expired.
They did. Yep. Yeah. They tried to revive it even as recently as last year.
Right.
And it didn't go through. Again, it's because the AKC, I think a big part of this is the AKC. They're a powerhouse. I'm sure they know people who know people, but also they rally everyone together. And so it got stalled and eventually went nowhere.
Okay.
So that's another thing, again, that we need. I believe in a revival of that, truthfully.
There's some laws that are put up almost every year that are like, come on, guys, we got to get smarter. I mean, what you said earlier is that one of the breeders was using breeding as a way to teach their children, you know, and that farmers, they do the same thing. You're teaching your kids about life and where animals come from and how to respect them. It's a very valuable lesson. But here's the thing. If we had stray cows roaming the streets, would we not have...
I just pictured that.
You know, would we not have cow breeding laws to kind of...
Right. Well, that's why I'm saying, like, why it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You don't have to like remove something entirely.
True.
But listen, I've been going to therapy long enough to know that you can have two things can live
simultaneously,
yes. Right? It's something I've worked really hard to grasp.
Yes.
So you can have you can have a law and allow something, but also have something that's supplemental that supports the success of that. Or two things can coexist.
Right. And not be a threat. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
A reputable breeder would like it sounds like the people you were in touch with liked being inspected. I'm doing things right. Hey, by the way, while you're here, I have a few questions, things I've never been able to find answers to.
Right.
You know, I know people who own restaurants, and I like that somebody's inspecting that restaurant, and they like being inspected and making sure that they're doing everything. Honestly, it's a competitive person. They're like, I got this score, you know, and that's how, if you're passionate about your breeding, that's where you should be.
Yeah.
And that's where you should be for your customers as well.
Yeah.
So
no, that's great. I agree. So that's, I don't know. I think I just became deflated for a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
We talk about so much.
I know. And I just like, so I just want to remind everyone, like, this is just kind of the things that we're talking about today. Like, they're worth more conversations.
Right.
I mean, it's just, we're not saying like people shouldn't breed responsibly, right? We're not saying like that. We're not saying the AKC needs to like disband and go away. We're just like, can you just stand behind your mission a little better and like,
and if we're in both
stop
ends,
and reflect.
I say both ends of that. I say, AKC, if you are standing up for a breed, you should be helping out to pass breeding laws, to do the work to support the work that you're doing. So you're not just making sure that, okay, let's say you have a reputable breeder who is looking for those characteristics in German Shepherds, let's say.
Right.
And these are ideal. I mean, I was looking at this vet page the other day, and they said, there was somebody asking about, I'm looking for a male to mate my female with, and
this happened the other day.
Cool. So why was there something?
No, it happens every day, and people don't know. It's just crazy.
So I was reading the other day where, again, on that vet page, the young lady says, I have a male, but I'm waiting for my female to go through blah, blah, blah before I breed them. And I forget what her question was. Apparently, I don't pay attention to these people's questions, but I do pay attention to what the vets say. And the vet's response was, I know what it was. She had done the testing, the genetic testing, and something popped up for the female. And it was something that was not characteristic of that breed. But one of the things that vet said was, hold the phone. Yeah. When I go to breed a dog, I don't breed with a dog that's near me. I hunt down the dog that would be ideally paired with that male or female. Yeah. And she says, I will go cross country usually. Yeah. And that's usually where the match is, not in my own backyard. Yeah. You know, it takes a lot of hunting and finding the right. So anyway, I say that to say, why is the AKC not educating about these things, not making sure that any dog that is AKC registered is not being bred to that
Right.
standard, not
Right.
Joe Schmo saying, I want a photocopy of my puppy, or I happen to have a girl and I happen to have a boy. Let's mash them up together.
That,
But also, hold the phone.
Okay.
It's not just the breeding side.
Yeah.
It's the sales side.
Well,
Why are
that's
they
what I was gonna
not
say.
going to
Yeah.
the pet lands and saying, don't buy from the person who wanted a photocopy of their dog, or the guy who's just making a profit in his backyard, or the people who have no idea what they're doing? These are the ones that are certified. And if they were to help, if they were to back up the legislation, then the legislation would back them up to say, these are the AKC standard dogs.
Yeah.
Everything else is that lowbrow wine that you bought at
Right. Because somewhere under some blankets and in a hole, like, money is involved.
Yes.
That's
because
why.
if they let
That's why.
everybody register, they make the few bucks off of everybody's registration.
Yeah. So there's, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what drives, I think, a lot of our fallen world. So,
I'm just saying it would be, if it were a true passion project for the AKC, I feel like they would be supportive of better legislation, supportive of better practices, and then earning their money there. And they'd have a stronger brand. They'd have a brand that says, this is AKC registration, not Joe Schmo and everybody else.
Yep, exactly. So. No, I agree. So I would challenge them to look into that.
It would be great to honestly hear from an AKC representative and like, maybe we're missing the boat here. Maybe we don't understand. Would love to speak to a representative and explain.
And that's the thing. I try to sorry. We're so close to the runway, I promise. Like our wheels are down. But I try not to get so wrapped up in like things that animal advocates are saying, because they are like, I like to give the benefit of the doubt to everyone, and sometimes it backfires. But I would love to have a conversation with someone who, like from that organization who is advocating on that side, just to hear, again, like facilitate conversations, not just pick one view and run with it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So
what are we missing? What are we not seeing? What's the plan? What's the strategy?
Yes. So all right. Wow. Yeah, that was a lot.
Yes.
But thank you. If you're still listening, thank you. So I just want to remind you guys, we love listener engagement. In fact, like, we love to pull it into our conversation. So you can email us at thebark@lostsavingpaws.org, visit our website, contact us, follow us on social media, comment, all the things. Doesn't even have to be positive. We promise. Though we discourage capital letters and exclamation points, but whatever. So, and then, again, if you like what you're hearing, please consider sponsoring us, even just with general donations, or if you're a business who believes in what we're doing, we would love to partner with you.
Yeah, we could use some continuous support.
Yes. Yeah. We could. That's a really gentle way of saying it. All right. So until next time, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.